Hello and welcome to Island Outdoors 1. Today I'd like to share with you a knife from Schrade U.S.A. and it is the old-timer 125OT Mustang. So this is a 5 1/4 inch clip blade liner lock knife, and it came with a sheath, and I don't have the sheath with this knife, but originally you could get these with a sheath, and it was made between the years of 1972 and 1997. And this particular knife was my father's knife, and he had it given to him from a salesman from the place that he worked. And it's an advertising knife, and I'll show you up closer, but you can see on the reverse side it has its own shield with that company's logo on it. But in 1972 this first appeared in a catalog as an old-timer, and the handle material description was genuine saw-cut staglon, and it had a hole in the butt bolster for a lanyard. In 1974 it was named the Mustang Lock Blade Folding Hunter. In 1979 the name changed to Mustang Lock Blade. Mustang Lock Blade. In 1983 the name changed Lock Blade Mustang. In 1987, the name changed back to Mustang Lockblade. So they had a hard time making up their mind what they wanted to call this knife over the years, but I guess they finally settled on the Mustang Lockblade, but I simply call it the Mustang. No lanyard hole appeared from 1974 through 75. And then there was a hole again from 1976 to 1991 for a lanyard. And then there was no hole from 1992 to 1997. So between trying to decide on the name, they also had trouble deciding if it needed a lanyard hole also, so that's kind of interesting. This knife has one large 1095 carbon steel clip point blade with a nail neck. It has brass pins, liners, and a brass liner lock marked press, which I'll show you in a minute. Has nickel silver bolsters, brown saw-cut Delrin handle, old-timer shield on the mark side, and on the reverse side it has a Aston Dryer Fabrics, and that's a paper machine fabric company, and it has that shield on the pile side. And it must have been a special order for the Aston Dryer Fabrics company, because it has the actual shield on the other side, which normally the Mustangs didn't have. So let's back out and give you a good look at this. You can see this is a large folding knife. Fills a hand without a problem, and this one has a great snap. This has hardly been used at all, if at all. And you can see we have a large flat ground clip point blade, and I'll show you the tang stamp, Schrade U.S.A. 125OT. And while we're right here, here is the brass liner lock that you press to release the blade. And unlike modern liner lock knives that solely use the liner lock to hold your blade open, this is still a traditional knife that uses the brass liner as more of a safety mechanism as opposed to the actual locking mechanism for the blade. The blade itself on these, and this one is stiff, It's still operated by this giant spring in the back. So that's what, if it didn't have the liner lock, would hold this blade open and closed just like on a smaller traditional knife. It uses just spring tension to hold it open, but you also get the added benefit of kind of a fail-safe liner lock if you're doing some heavy cutting tasks. And some of the other knives I've shown have these brass liner locks, and it's been known that if you use your knife for hard cutting tasks, that over time the brass liner lock can develop some wear, and which would also give it some up and down play, and that's fairly normal, but it still functions to prevent the blade from closing by accident. So just a nice safe design, and for such a large folder, this is not very wide, so that's pretty thin in your pocket. Or actually, these came with a belt sheath, so you could carry these on your belt. And I cannot find the belt sheath for this. I've looked high and low, so I'm not able to share that with you, but I think you can still get them from the new Taylor Brands Schrade company. You can order the sheaths, and I don't think they're that expensive, and they're decent quality, so you can buy replacement sheaths for these. But a very nice solid knife, and what a good hunting knife this would make. Has the length of a fixed blade, maybe not quite as rugged as a fixed blade, but nearly like that, I guess you could say. And we have the big beefy rounded nickel silver bolsters, the big old timer shield. You can see the brass pin construction, the saw cut Delrin handle scales, which provide a little bit of traction. And on the back you can see, or I hope you can see, Aston dryer fabrics, and those are just things that go on a paper machine in the paper making process, and salesmen were giving this out, I guess, as incentive to buy their company's product, and more importantly to keep their name fresh in the minds of people that were able to purchase products from them. So pretty good strategy from that company. And like I said, I believe this was probably a special order, and Schrade made up so many knives, and I'm unsure how many knives in this order, but they had an additional shield inlaid in the pile side handle, especially with their logo or name on it. So that's pretty cool. You can see on the bottom here we have solid brass liners on each side of the carbon steel spring, and it's 2 layers on this top side, one for the liner and one for the liner lock. So you can see it still has one brass liner right up against the handle, and the second layer is for the actual liner lock. And you can see this one travels all the way to the far side, so they're not on a wedge or an incline like your modern liner locks. It simply just acts as like a door stop to keep your blade open or keep it from closing. So just a wonderful knife, and a lot of people like the Mustang. It was a good size and slim package with a capable blade, and I just adore this one, and I was happy to share it with you. I thank you for watching, and you have a good day.